Let's delve into the original free kick and preview tonight's contest for Atlanta United as they host Toronto. Before we get to that contest itself, let's recap Atlanta's 1-0 win over LAFC this past weekend on I always say Sunday, and I make sure I say the exact date because that is an annoyance, not an annoyance, but if you listen to shows and things like that, some are daily, so you can kind of get away with the days of the week. But if you're listening to this on the 20th or 21st or maybe even next week, and I say, oh, last Sunday, that doesn't really help the cause. The game took place on August 15th. So that was the correct day. But Atlanta got a second consecutive win on Sunday. Nice home win for the Five Stripes. Josef Martinez scored the lone goal of the contest. It was the fifth goal of the season. Ezekiel Barco picked up his third assist on a nice give and go, which we'll break down in a few minutes. Brad Guzan had 3 saves in the match, fourth clean sheet of the season for him. So Atlanta is moving up the standings in the Eastern Conference. Over here is Rob Valentino, interim manager for Atlanta United, on the importance of that victory.
It's extremely important that we win. I think that that's what it is. Yeah, for their momentum, for their confidence, to win a game where it was really tough, it was not pretty at times. That says a lot about them in there. So again, I'm proud of them, but I'm proud that they found a way to win when maybe at times it was really difficult for them.
And it looked like LAFC was going to take the 1-0 lead in the 40th minute when Mohamedou Fall was able to get a header off of a free kick, but it was disallowed by VAR, ruling that he was in an offside position. That was a very close call. I honestly thought that looking at it live, that he wasn't offside. But if you looked at the VAR, and this is the thing about VAR, it's a mixed bag. I like that there's video review for things like offsides or for penalties or fouls and things like that because you want accuracy in the game. But it's also very minute where I honestly thought he wasn't off. I mean, you saw his shoulder, his upper body was slightly leaned in, so that makes it an offside call. But I really think that it should be when it's that close. I say give the. It's kind of like in baseball when there's a play at first base when someone is running down the line and the runner and the ball kind of arrive at the same time. Say tie goes to the runner. In that case, I think the tie in situations like that should go to the offensive player. But that wasn't the case for LAFC. But Atlanta took advantage of it, obviously getting the victory. But Atlanta did a really good job defensively against LAFC. They limited LAFC to only 6 shots on target and led in possession percentage at 59%. Obviously, a big part of that was defending former MLS MVP Carlos Vela. Here is Valentino on defending Vela.
He's a fantastic player. We spoke about him a lot during the week, and specifically when we talked about the video with his attacking. We just try to eliminate his left foot as much as we can. Know where he's going to try to operate, and the guys did a pretty good job. They knew when he was going to go and dribble inside. They knew what his quality was, and you have to respect that. And we also need to do a good job to try to stop it. So I think at times we did a decent job. He's a really good player though. You got a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, the technique Atlanta used in this contest is a three-man back line. Miles Robinson, Anton Walks, and Alan Franco. When and typically you can have most teams have three-man back lines or four-man back lines. You kind of rotate through that, and we've seen all forms of that through the history of Atlanta United. We've seen a four-man back line on the Tata. We've seen three-man back lines in certain situations. We would see that with not Brad Guzan, with Frank De Boer, and just different techniques. Heinz said kind of had a four-man back line, but he would kind of flirt with a three. But this was a full three-man back line commitment from beginning to end, and using those three kind of central defenders in that formation. So that was a very interesting technique used by Atlanta in the contest. Here is Miles Robinson on defending Vela in the contest.
Yeah, we knew Vela was going to try to, create the game like he normally does. So we had to make sure we stayed tight to him. There's a few times in the second or the first half where, we gave him too much space and he, hurt us. But, yeah, I thought the team did good in terms of just staying tight to him the whole game, trying to frustrate him.
Now, Atlanta was able to take a lead 2 minutes into the second half for that lone goal of the contest. Marcelino Moreno played a long ball over the top of the LAFC back line, and Barco was able to run the ball down, streaking down the left side of the field, and he went into the penalty area and shot a nice pass to a streaking Martinez on the right side. And Josef was able to one time the shot into the lower corner of goal and push it past the LAFC goalkeeper and make the score 1-0. Really nice interaction between those three frontline players and scoring in that contest. Here's Valentino on Martinez's performance, and Josef has worked his way back into form. He's scored in several I think it's his third match that he's played, because remember he did get to suspension for a foul. I think it was in the Montreal contest, got a yellow or got a red, and had to sit out in the contest. But we're seeing him get a goal per contest around that average. So he's really working his way into form. And here is Valentino on Martinez's performance.
He scores, and that's important. I think that we obviously missed him the last game, and he was huge in other ways in terms of the team culture and being around the group. I'll be honest, I would have liked to see him running behind more. But, he gave everything he could, and he gets the goal, and he nearly gets another one. I think that would have been huge. But, you can see the fans love him. I love him, and we're all happy that he's back to somewhat of his normal self, and we'll keep pushing him, and I think he'll keep challenging this group to want more.
And it was a nice milestone or mark for Josef himself, because his first goal at Mercedes-Benz Stadium since October 24th, 2019. So we know he is coming back from the ACL injury, missed the majority, or really all of the 2020 season. I know he played that first MLS match at Nashville, and that's where he had the knee injury. And he's been very open about dealing with affection and complications with that injury and with the knee. So it was good for him to score a goal in front of the home fans. And here he is on getting that home goal for the supporters.
I have a lot of pressure because I need to make score here. I have 4 goals, but all 4 away. And today it's more because I like to play against good teams and with amazing crowd, amazing fans. So it's a little bit special. I want to make score so bad. But the most important 3 points, we go thinking about the next game. And when I stand out in front of the people, I just enjoy, man, because they made me special, and I love them so much.
Now, after that goal, Valentino made some interesting substitutions in the contest. He put in Brooks Lennon for Ronald Hernandez, who I thought had a really solid contest in the midfield. Amir Sajic subbed in for Mateus Rossetto. Rossetto did not have the best contest. Several turnovers, looked out of form in that match, did not play very well, in my opinion. And then Eric Lopez substituted for Marcelino Moreno. Moreno, I thought, had a solid match overall. Obviously, he didn't get credit for the assist, but the ball that he played to Barco was the catalyst or the lead for Atlanta's lone goal of the contest. But making those subs, a little bit of mix of defense and offense and everything like that. But here's what I found interesting. Here is Valentino on the substitutions and what they were used for.
I was trying to get us to get more possession to get another goal. And now how much I can do from the sideline or substitutions change things, so trying to figure out the best way. But then also, at times, if we have to defend, we need to defend. It's 2 sides of the game. We can't think that we can only do one side. So that was important that, the subs come on and make an influence in that sense, especially the midfielders. So I was still going for it. We're still going for it.
And you hear him say that it was offensive minded. And that's what we've noticed with Valentino during his tenure as the interim head coach. We've seen a lot of aggression from the offense for Atlanta, a lot of pushing forward. That seems to be the thing. We've heard it from Darren Eales, the team president of the team, and he has been very vocal about Atlanta playing a very forward style and a very exciting style. And hearing Valentino confirm that just continues to show what their what their commitment is to that. And here's Valentino on the tactics during the match to elaborate on that.
The first half, I thought that we had well, it looked like we were going to have some good play and some good interchange with small, shorter passes to be able to break their lines and go. I thought we could have been more dangerous in transition. We could have looked for a little bit longer of the pass to get in behind, and we didn't. Now, whether that was due to them or due to us, I mean, at times I felt like it wasn't in our character the first half. It didn't look like the team that we've seen. And so at halftime we spoke about that. And then in the second half they changed the shape and it made it really difficult for us. We scored the goal early, which is great. And then after that it was like we were just holding on at times. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's what they did to us or if it's maybe us in the first half that didn't really try to put the stamp on the game. I mean, they're a great team, so I think we left them in the game for long enough where they thought, okay, we can get something here, and they've got dangerous players as well. So it wasn't perfect by any means, but a win's a win for me.
Yeah, so that's the thing with Atlanta, as I mentioned, really trying to be forward and aggressive with their goals. And once again, averaging more than a goal a contest over the past few contests when they had goalless streaks over long tenures under previous manager Gabriel Heinze. So you've seen improvement there. And this is Valentino on the team's 3-match unbeaten streak and what they've been able to do well.
It's not me. It's them. It's their mentality. It's not mine. I think as a staff, as people that have been helping them, we've tried to lead by example, show them that we care, show them that we're going to serve them, we're going to help them, and give them all the tools that we can. We're going to do our best, and hopefully they see that. And I'm not saying those things didn't happen before, but I think relationships are important. I've said it all along, and if you have rules without relationships, you're going to have chaos. And we don't have rules because we have a relationship, so we can manage certain situations. And I think ultimately they see how much we care, they see how much we're pushing and trying, and they're getting the reward. I mean, it's them though. We can't take credit as a staff. I wouldn't feel right because they're the ones really pushing every single day. They're the ones that physically put themselves out there. So those players deserve all the credit, every single one of them.
And I'm going to actually do a switch up here, and I'm going to put the audio. I was going to save it for later, but it kind of ties into what he's been saying. And with the media, we spoke with Alan Franco yesterday, or on the 17th, before tonight's matchup against Toronto. And he made a point to say that there's a lot of humility with the team, that they're very humble as a group. Here's Valentino on that humility and kind of what's led to it.
I really like it. I think that keeps a group really hungry. I'd imagine that the results have done that to them as well, because who goes through that type of period and still has their chest out thinking that they're the ones to beat. But credit to them that they have enough in them to go, we are still a good team and we can climb out of this, because I think it's the humbleness and also the humility that comes with, all right, we're not maybe where we should be, but we have enough confidence in ourselves to climb out of it and be that team. I personally really like it. I think the personalities in the group, even the big ones, have shown. I mean, look, Josef went through a really bad injury in a time period where he was obviously really open with you guys about what that was like, and that changes a person. I've been through an ACL before, and so I understand where his personal mentality was at, and I didn't have the complications, and I also didn't have the career to back up those things. But the actual injury and what it does to your mental state, that can humble you altogether, and also put a lot of things in life in perspective. And that's, for me, probably why I come with my experience of like why I want to talk to them more about them as people, because I think it's really important. And then it translates onto the field, and it translates into a group being together, and that humility or humbleness, so however you want to describe it. I think it brings people together for one goal. It's a team goal, and these things sound cheesy and corny, but it'll bring you together, and I think it helps you when you want to progress forward and you go through something hard. And you have the humility, you have the humbleness to keep pushing forward, but also have the confidence. I'm glad he described it that way. That's good to know that that's where his head's at.
And yeah, I think Atlanta has dealt with a sense of reality. It's been a franchise that has not dealt with a lot of growing pains in the first Remember, the first 3 years of this franchise, they won an MLS Cup, able to win the U.S. Open Cup, a Campeones Cup, and bring hardware to Atlanta. But the past, year and a half have been a struggle. They've gone through two full-time managers, one interim manager. They have an interim manager currently in the fold now before Gonzalo Pineda takes over as a full-time manager in the next few days. So they're not winning, not producing results, not making the MLS playoffs last year. So putting that all together, you just see that this team has been kicked in the butt a little bit, and they've responded well to that. Now it's tough. You having to change your manager in the middle of a season and everything like that, but they are showing some effort and fight and resolve to try to improve that. And as a result of that, they currently sit ninth in the Eastern Conference standings with 21 points. They've moved up 3-4 spots within the past two matches, and there's 5 points behind seventh place Montreal. So they are still in a good position to be a playoff team. And here is Miles Robinson on that playoff push.
Yeah, I think the team's in a good point or a good mental state right now. I think we're working hard and we're working for each other and we're playing for each other and our fans. And as you can see, we're doing pretty good so far.
And here's Rob Valentino also about the team's playoff push and making a run for the postseason.
18, we're in a much different position than we are at the moment, and things started to change a little bit. To win, we thought we might need to be a little more pragmatic and shore up some of the defensive stuff and not be so open to make sure we can go all the way, really. And that worked at that moment. But before that, we can't forget what got them there in that moment. And so for me, it's getting us back there, and then how can we shore things up defensively? Where can we be better to make sure we get the wins? And then I think that when you get towards the end of the season or you get towards a place where you're in the playoffs or you're in a playoff spot, it is all about winning. And I would imagine, I'm not going to speak for Darren, but I would imagine if you win, he'll be happy. If it's over a consistent period of time, a year, 2 years, where you're quote unquote boring, then maybe it's different. But I imagine he's happy with us winning.
And that run continues tonight when they host Toronto on August 18th. And the good part for Atlanta as well, they're facing some teams that are right in the same level as they are. They're not facing the top teams in MLS at this stage. LAFC and we're using LAFC be a team that contends for the Supporters Shield and be a championship contender. Right now, they're a middling team in the Western Conference. They're not playing well right now. Toronto, another team over the past few years we've seen compete in the MLS Cup for a championship and be right there. They right now have the worst record in the Eastern Conference, so they are not in strong form. And also, Atlanta has DC United on the road on August 20th, a team that is not right where Atlanta is as far as the standings go. So Atlanta has a nice run of teams that are right along with them. But this is also the second match this contest tonight against Toronto, the second match of three over a 7-day period. So this is Valentino on the condensed schedule and how the squad is handling it.
Yeah, I mean the fixture period doesn't help with can we get more training in? You have to be cautious of it, right? And with our weather here in Atlanta in general, it's difficult. It's not changed anything. I think the mentality's been really good. I think we're all probably a little bit more tired. It's normal. You go through this time period where you got the quick turnaround, and I'm glad we didn't have to travel during it. It's great. Obviously, we will for the next one. So these two games are really important that we're here. We can train our own facilities, be in our own beds, things like that. So we've just been focused on rest, recover, and preparation. So keeping the mentality the same and making sure that we, like you said, we need to climb, and we know that. And I think that message was pretty clear when we play Columbus at home. We that was in the start of when we talked about this is the time period where teams go one way or the other. So our message has been the same, that we want to keep climbing forward and progressing forward.
Yeah, so we'll be keeping track of everything that goes on with Atlanta United as they roll on through.